All right, then it's time for us to take a quick look at what's happening on the covers of the newspapers this morning. Of course, Mike Messi-Keno is right here with me as well.
Yep, let's take a look at the papers.
Quite a bit happening on the covers of the papers this morning. If we start with The Nation, of course, today is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Tinubu at the United Nations General Assembly. Nigeria welcomes true partnership. President addresses world leaders. Now, parts of the speech start there on the cover. The full speech is on page 3 of this paper. But there are some quotes here. It says, "We welcome partnership with those who do not mind seeing Nigeria and Africa assume larger roles in the global community." Then there's another quote here. It says, "The question is not whether Nigeria is open for business. The question is how much of the world is truly open to doing business with Nigeria and Africa in an equal, mutually beneficial manner." Mike, I feel like, you know, when you have quotes like this, there's a lot that's being said, but then there's also a lot that's not being said when you hear quotes like that, especially from a leader. You know, because it does feel like we have a lot of people coming into the country to invest, but how much they're willing to invest in Africa has been in question.
Yeah, we need to sort out a lot of our issues, and majorly one of the major issues will be security, because investors will not want to become, I'm talking about not just security of lives and property, but security of investment also. So we ensure that our taxing is, you know, we have tax-friendly initiatives to ensure that these people, when they come in, they, you know, it's mutually beneficial, as you want to call it, symbiotic, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, and then, of course, the issue of lives and property, that is very important. I mean, the other day, we saw a very gory video of what happened in Imo State and all about what the Southeast has turned into. And we know how, you know, different places of, or different regions of the country and insecurity in those parts. We need to sort that out as soon as possible, because that is what people see, and that will also determine how much people want to relate with us. So, yeah. You know,
I would have actually said, you know, when in Rome kind of situation, you need to sort of adapt to a place you're going to invest in. So I know that if, for instance, I want to send my products or export my products as a Nigerian to somewhere like the UK, I know I have to take into consideration all the issues that they have in the UK when it comes to the weather conditions, how my products are going to survive in that environment, how we're going to distribute those products in an environment like that. You know, it's a different situation, it's a different environment. So I would have thought, you know, if investors are coming into the country, they should, you know, scan the terrain and say, okay, so what works here and how can we adapt our services to this environment?
The onus of creating an environment that works is on us, not on investors. The investors, there are options available to them. So if you want them to come in, you have to create an environment that works. I was talking the other day we've spoken about it different times. I spoke about this particular road of companies that are moribund and warehouses that left, and the major reason they left was power generation. Just yesterday also, the grid collapsed again.
Yeah,
You know, over the past week, it has collapsed like, what, 2-3 times? You know, so power generation, that's one very strong thing. If you don't generate power, you don't expect them to come here to create something or to invest, and then they have to generate their own power. So the onus, the responsibility of creating an environment that works so that investors can actually align with what we're doing is on us, is on our government, is on ourselves to do.
You know, the interesting thing, you know, there are quite a lot of, you know, companies that have come here to thrive. And that was, you know, why I put the question out there that, you know what is it going to take for this environment?
We create it. We have to
create the environment, right?
Responsibilities on us, not on investors. Responsibilities on us to create an environment that works.
Now, the rest of the speech is definitely in the paper if you want to get a better look at what else happened at the United Nations General Assembly yesterday. We have the Punch newspaper with us as well, and the headline goes thus. It says here, Dangote Refinery imports crude as NNPCL swaps oil for loans. Dangote expects crude from NNPCL November, begins operations October. $3 billion crude for loans deals. Others put pressure on local supply. Top left, it says here on Tinubu's victory, Atiku Obi filed 86 ground appeals at Supreme Court. It says here, Niger crisis will put pressure on Nigerian food market, according to World Bank. On the dollar shortage, foreign airlines trapped funds hit $783 million. Let's see what we have here. Yes, photo stories. Youth protest Mohbad's death, demand justice. Government plans renovation as miscreants vandalize Lagos pedestrian bridges. Power-drunk Lagos policemen invade Lekki shop, arrest attendants, plot charges. And UNGA, that's the United Nations General Assembly there. Tinubu, Biden condemn coups, insist on democracy.
There's quite a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
I'd like to start with the picture story here. We saw a number of protests across different cities in Nigeria. That's concerning the death of Mohbad, the artist who demanding justice. And there was this particular, I'm not sure if it was Abiyakuta, I stand to be corrected, where it looked like it was getting rowdy. Now, you have to understand that no matter what happens, no matter for what cause a protest is, there will always be people who would want to use that particular protest to spread violence or to even rob and, commit atrocities, as it were. So the point here that they're trying to say is that ensure, and that's why I think the one for Abubakar today was cancelled, because there was information getting to the police that some people would want to use that. Abubakar is a place that has quite a number of shops and all of that. Sure. And that is something that happens. So while people are asking for justice, please ensure that if you have to do the process, ensure that these things are not taken over by miscreants. You understand? As it were, let it not be that somebody, while fighting for justice, you're causing pain to another. Remember the NSAS protests and all of that. Some malls were just after 3 years. It had to take 3 years. When you think of the mall, Jakonde, you think of Surulere, some malls that take 3 years. You know what that means? Loss of jobs, loss of revenue. Well, look at what it did to society. And the people that went there were, in their mind, they're going for something that was good, but look at what happened. Look at what it cost. So we're saying that while you're going out for this, please ensure you stay peaceful. Don't incite violence. The police is on the case. Yeah. Let us not have a repeat of things that have happened before.
There was a long list of inspectors and police officials that was, I think, released, I think day before yesterday, who are on the matter. And I do believe the deputy governor went to visit the family yesterday. So things are happening already. Let's see what we have on the cover of the Daily Independent newspaper. It says here, Atiku asks Supreme Court to declare him president. Lists 35 grounds for nullification of PEPC judgment. Obi urges Apex Court to nullify Tinubu's victory. Page 29 has more on that. It says here at the top, on strike threats, hardship faced by workers giving us sleepless nights, according to TUC. National grid collapses again. The story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 41. It also says here, CSOs ask Akpabio to resign over alleged sham impeachment plot. Tinubu exposes how Western economies undermine Africa's development, says Nigeria now ready for business. And that's what we have on the cover of the Daily Independent. Indeed, I think that's all we have time for when it comes to the headlines in the dailies for this morning. Of course, we would love to hear your opinion on some or all of the stories. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC when you post. All right, let's take a quick break and be back with more.